I wanted to see you this one last time.
The date is March 14th. It's the big day. You walk over to your favorite confectionery shop, you get some goods for that cute girl in your school, you give her that candy.
What's in the fucking box?
She giggles, and you promptly jizz in your pants because you're a weird Korean schoolboy. Oh, this doesn't sound familiar to you? Well, that's most likely because I'm projecting my fond middle school memories on the situation. In most countries that do celebrate Valentine's Day, it's pretty common for people to go out and buy gifts and other trivial shit for your significant other. Usually it's the guys getting shit for the girls. Now Japan, Korea, Taiwan, and some other country, it's mostly common for women to go and make or buy candies for men on Valentine's Day. Well, White Day is the sequel to that, where men go out and buy gifts and candies for them fine-looking ladies.
So what the fuck does this have to do with anything, let alone spooky games? Well, I'll tell ya. Let us delve into the spooky part of the internet.
And by the spooky part, I just mean the internet. So, White Day. I gotta say, this game instantly got my attention. How could it not? Hyped up to be literally the scariest game ever made. That's a bold fucking statement. So of course, this game had me swooning over its nuts. A super obscure Korean PC game released in 2001. Needless to say, this was right up my alley. To top it all off, finding a copy of this game is a fucking task. I don't know what it is, but I just love obscure horror games. There's something super special about them. So finally, the internet being the beautiful thing that it is, I was able to get a playable version of the game. Since the game was never released outside of Korea, getting this thing to work right from the get-go is a bit of a chore. Luckily, thanks to the real heroes of the universe, there is a ready-to-go DTF version in English that literally does everything. Whoever you are, you the MVP. So finally, I get to play the scariest game ever made. I take all the steps to shit my pants. I turn off the lights, turn up the sound, remove my pants. What? I don't actually want to shit my pants. Just do that in the gamepad chair. I break out all the stops, amplify my experience of the scariest game ever made. To no surprise, it's really not that scary.
What did you really expect? I'm not sure what I expected. I was just really excited to play it. Really, the hype caused me to be quite skeptical how scary the game could actually be. I mean, usually I hate the term overhyped since it's used so loosely and the negative connotation that follows it, and you're the one in control of how much hype there really is. But for me, this is a perfect example of an overhyped game. It's not a bad game, I just wouldn't call it the scariest game ever made.
White Day, a Labyrinth named school, stellar fucking title on a side note, was released sometime in September in 2001. For only being sold in Korea for the PC, I guess you could say the game has amassed quite the cult following, and I would place myself in that category. I do think the game is overhyped, but man, it's still such a unique game. For its time, it has a lot of features: branching paths, multiple endings, lore, cat and mouse gameplay, puzzles. Granted, Silent Hill came out a year before this and had most of these things executed even better, but that doesn't mean you can just discredit the game. So the game starts off with Anime Girl 27 losing her journal and Anime Boy 48 finding it. They have this really quick, awkward interaction. Being a hormonal teenage boy, of course he wants to slop his junk in that hole, so he's like, "Bitches love chocolate," and decides to sneak in after school and leave her that chocolate. Later, the anime boy is seen sneaking into the school and being watched by a camera. He steps foot inside, and the game starts. Now that's how you start a game, quick and to the point. White Day could easily be credited as the progenitor of participation horror. If you've played Amnesia, Outlast, or what have you, this game will seem oddly familiar. It creates this game of cat and mouse but with the attributes of survival horror. The game consists mostly of Korean dating sim, solving puzzles, and hiding from the school pedophile. So pretty much just high school if you think about it. There are 3 girls you encounter in which you can choose from multiple dialogue options. Each choice has the chance to net you points to win their trust or to lose it.
싫어. 도대체 너 만나고 된 게 하나도 없어.
Each choice ultimately affects how every interaction plays out for all 3 NPCs. I don't know if it's the translation or a cultural thing, but sometimes I'll pick answers that seem like something a normal human being would say, but then they react like I'm some piece of shit cis scum for having the balls to say it. Apparently, I'm just no good at talking to little anime girls.
Looks like we'll have to contact the professional. Corey?
What?
I know you hate being interrupted during your Miku worship, but I need help talking to little anime girls again.
Did you say little anime girls?
As for the puzzles, they're kinda similar to the stuff found in Silent Hill. You have your more straightforward find the key to progress, but you also have some really more intriguing ones. Killing bugs with insecticide, baking a clay statue to give to this— HOLY SHIT! Point is, there isn't many difficult puzzles, but there are some really cool ones. Unfortunately, the game takes a massive hit when it comes to the hide and seek parts, so the ever-pursuing monster in this game is a creepy anime pedophile that is also the world's worst janitor. Probably the same janitor that left pubes on the urinal in Ju-on. Anyway, this janitor is some kind of demon or something that beats kids with a baseball bat after hours. This guy just takes his job way too seriously.
What did I say about not sitting on the floor?
So he's always lurking around wherever you're at, and you have to avoid him since you can't attack. Each level he gets progressively ever present, which really starts to get annoying fast. By the 3rd level, he just knows where you're at and is coming for you. You opened a door,
Heard that.
you left a light on,
Saw that through 9 walls.
you piddled on yourself from that fetus in the room.
Trip, trip, motherfucker.
Not only is he easier to trigger than your modern feminist, but his fucking pathing is the most broken shit. I kid you not, this dumb fuck gets caught on everything. That goes for all the NPCs in this game. Who the fuck did the programming? Look at this dipshit. He's been at this forever. Wait, what the fuck is he? Good lord. Yup. That just happened. He found it easier to break down his atoms and phase through the wall. There are times where he phases through all matter and finds me, you son of a bitch! This stealth is retard easy. You get a crouch, have fun. Why do most of these horror games that make stealth its main game mechanic do so little with the stealth? Here's a lean. Get spooked! If I had to single out one thing that makes this game really unfun to play, it's this douchebag. Every time I hear his jingle keys, I just sit there and contemplate smashing my monitor. Man, fuck this guy. Another thing that bothers me about him is that he's just not scary. This game is about ghosts and the supernatural. Why is he the main antagonist? He literally looks like every creeper in every fucking manga. This goes for the whole game. The art style is just literally anime. I know horror animes are pretty popular, but mixing those two is like mixing death metal and jazz. It can be done, but only by the pros. I'm sure there's some good ones out there, but when I see these cute, big-eyed anime characters, and when you mix it with something scary, you almost lose me. This game really does look like shit, which hurts it. It's old, so I can only expect so much, but really, this is one of those times where it actively detracts from the game. Mixed with these big-eyed anime characters, its aesthetic is very unusual.
Actually, the longer I look at it, this looks like a fucking Dreamcast game. Oh my god, that's what it is. I could not put my finger on it. It looks just like a Dreamcast game. So, gameplay-wise, It's got some ideas, but its execution is rough.
One thing, for whatever reason, I really like is the actual school itself. It has such a unique look. This might be because being an American scumbag, it looks so foreign to me. For me, it really improves the atmosphere. Like a dream where you're lost in an unfamiliar place. So, weird anecdotal shit aside, the game plays like an actual survival horror game. Shocking, I know. But all of its parts combined feels more like a survival horror game than your typical jump scare simulator. It really feels like a hybrid between a survival horror game and something like Amnesia. I wouldn't be shocked if this game did have some influence on Amnesia. Of course, that's probably a bit far-fetched since this isn't really all that well known. The story isn't really anything special. The gist is the school you go to was built in this ideal place, but something called Pungsu leaks its power and people die. So they make these amulets, the ones you collect throughout the game, that create a seal to protect the school, but the spiritual power is greater than the amulets. Now let me stop you there. How is this an ideal place? If hundreds of people have died because of the great spiritual power in the area, then how is this ideal? I'm serious. So it boils down to shit's fucking haunted. Granted, I'm reading a fan translation since I can't even begin to understand Korean, so there might be some things lost in translation. The ghost stories littered throughout are interesting and really help create a fucking awesome atmosphere. The school is more of the subplot though. The main plot revolves around the girls and yourself. The game is split into 4 to 5 separate segments depending on your dialogue choices. With each choice you make, you single down to what ending you can achieve. With a total of 8 endings, the game does have replay value, that is if you're willing to deal with playing the game more than once. I'm telling you, the janitor really frustrates the hell out of me. I'm not actually sure if you guys like that I go into such depth on shit like this, but personally, I like to be helpful with these kinds of things. So I'll keep it short and help you generally get an idea how to obtain them all. So of the 3 girls, you have to pick which one you want to escape with. Generally speaking, be nice to the one you want to suck their butt. One important choice you have to make early on in the first chapter is when Song Ah runs from the spooky ghost noise. This is the biggest crossroad. If you follow Song Ah, then to my knowledge, you can no longer get any ending with So Young. If you follow the noise, you can experience the more, I'm guessing, canonical endings?
Once again, I'm really torn when talking about this game. I really want to love it more than I do. And it seemed like everyone was really impressed with it, even going as far as labeling it as the scariest game ever made. It's a frustrating horror game with some pretty good ideas. It's very Eastern horror too, so if you're not really into that kind of thing, it's not gonna do anything for you probably.
I'd be lying if I said the game never spooked me. It does have some genuinely scary moments and atmosphere. I think the biggest problem with this game is just aged horribly. The sound engineering, which I shit you not has gotten praise from some, is fucking terrible. The game has a fucking stiffy for using the most ear-raping sounds that just loop. The start of the game, literally less than 5 minutes in, just barrages you with the loudest fucking alarm which drones on while you try to figure out how the game even works. Why would you start the game like this? Hey, you've been playing for a few seconds. Oh look, schoolgirls. I like where this is going. Sounds are just a mess in this game. Now I will offer a disclaimer, this is not a copy straight from the disc played on a Korean PC from the early 2000s. I'm playing this obscure ass game on a modern PC in America with Windows 10. So I cannot say for certain it's entirely the game's fault with confidence.
I know I probably sound like that guy that has to find fault in everything. Everyone's just raving about the game and I'm just sitting here being a dick nose, just shitting all over it. But these things have to be said. They can't be ignored. There's some pretty big flaws in the game, and if you keep just, they're not real, you're gonna end up disappointed like I was. The game's got a lot of potential, but due to probably time and money constraints, is the reason why it's so rough around the edges.
There are indeed well-executed scares. The game is actually scary, even past the horrible graphics and jank AI. I genuinely lost my shit a few times. It's way scarier than Amnesia or Outlast, and even fucking Alien Isolation. I'm saying this with confidence. despite how hard I've been on the game. Now, it's got nothing on one of the actual scariest games ever made, Silent Hill 3, where I cower in fear from start to end, but it still pulls off genuine horror. For its time, it really was innovative. There was a lot cut from the game too, including more ghosts, levels, and even multiplayer. You heard that right. White Day was supposed to have an online mode where one person would play as the boy, while others could play as the ghosts, janitor, and other monsters found throughout the game. It's fucking Left 4 Dead 8 years early. If this game wasn't so unheard of, I'd be really ready to argue that the game paved a lot of roads for horror-themed games. So I've been playing this game for a few years now, so this next bit got me really fucking hyped. As of November 4th, the Korean developer ROI, or R-O-I, I don't know, has announced they're remaking this game. Holy fucking yes! This is another game that really needs a fucking remake. They've stated it'll be compatible with the PS4 VR thingy and PC. Now, it has been released for mobile in Korea and is slated for sometime in 2016 for the PS4. Now, before your hype boner gets as big as mine, let me inform you, there is no guaranteed international release as of yet. They have stated it will get one if it does well enough in Korea. Now, if one was inclined enough, a petition might be a smart thing to do, but sales will be sales. Hopefully, it does well, because I'm super curious to see how this turns out. This game is full of potential and is hindered by its age and, I'm guessing, money constraints. If the game had a significant boost in graphics, sound, and playability, we might have a fucking gem on our hands. Please, baby, bring it to me.
So what's the verdict on the original? It costs absolutely nothing and takes very little to get running. There's no real reason not to play it. Sure, it's frustrating, and there's times where I really got pissed off, but the sum of its parts together are a lot more than their parts alone. As for the remake, let's hope that officially gets released internationally. I'm sure we'll get our hands on it regardless, because there's some fucking genius out there that'll do the same thing as they did the first time. So, overall, play it. If you like horror games, it's worth it. It has frustrating moments, but it costs nothing, and you can download it, and it pretty much runs. Yeah, you might have to do a couple workarounds here and there, but that's it. So until next time, we get to Kiichiro Toyama's side bitch, you know what I'm saying?
Looks of strength right here. Yeah, baby.
But these things can't be ignored. It has to be said, there's some really massive flaws that, if you aren't aware of, will be really disappointing, like I was. I was when I was born.